this is a walkthrough of my app Get Plant Game. The app itself is not totally completed, so I have completed making the Rails backend API, and you can post data to it, and you can authorize a login, and you can create new admin users. The front end is in React, but I had a lot of trouble getting the data across to React with what I believe the block is the authorization token, the JWT. It also took me quite a while to get the data to post for a new object instance in the API. So yeah, that took a while to work out. I tested my API in Postman. You can see here, I've moved my API to be on localhost 5000 so that I could proxy it to the React app so that it wasn't on localhost 3000. The reason I had trouble uploading data to the API was due to issues with my migrations tables, which I'll show you in a minute. But anyway, this is showing that you can create a new admin user. It generated a JWT token down here. I did the login request to the login endpoint and was able to log in with a response. I did a GET request to the plants endpoint, and I was returned with the response here, all of the plant information. So there's an ID, a title, image, a description. I had to log it in with admin ID for it to work. And this is the post request to create a new plant. So this is my request here. And then, as you can see, it was created. Okay, so if we go through here, there's application controller. It's set to be an API. Before someone logs in, they need to be authorized. Encoding a JWT token, I've put my secret code here. It requests headers of authorization. If the token's decoded, it begins login. And it finds the admin by ID. If they're logged in, they become authorized. If they're not logged in, it sends an error message that you're unauthorized. So in our admin controller, we have create for creating a new admin. It asks if they're valid, if there is a token, and it goes through to the admin serializer, status created. Otherwise, it throws an error message, failed to create a new user. We have admin params here. They need to have a username, password, first name, last name. And the admin serializer is here. So the attributes are ID, username, first name, last name. The plant controller, which is where all the plant tips live. Because the app is a CMS of plant tips and gardening hacks. So we have index, show, create, update, destroy, and the various endpoints are in the notes. So the object is at plant. It also refers to the plant serializer, which is here, initializing the plant object and making it a JSON extension. So you've got index showing all plants, you've got show to show one instance of a plant record and it will find it by ID, otherwise it will throw error not found. You've got create, so create a new plant instance. If it's valid, it will save it and render from the plant serializer, and it will say status created, otherwise it will throw an error message. You've got update, which also finds it by ID, goes through the plant serializer, throws an error message. Destroy, so it finds it, the instance of that object by the ID and lets you know that it's okay. There's also the plant params here, which go through plant, and it permits title, image data, description, and admin ID. I had to add admin ID for a plant instance to be able to be created. And this took me quite a bit of time. So I originally had a table with different columns and categories here. I had to roll back the migration quite a few times because I had a column here that was called type and I wanted to put indoor or outdoor, but it was confusing the word type for something else, for Rails inheritance or active record inheritance, and it wasn't allowing my plant instance to be saved. So I had to remove that. I ended up trying to create a new migration called tips, but then this would not get applied when I reran the migration with admin ID. So it didn't end up in my schema with admin ID. I figured out how to roll back and roll up, and it ended up that I was able to remove the original plants table and replace it with this updated one. So that worked now. But it took a lot of Googling and a lot of time to figure that out. I've got my routes here. So API v1, resources for admin, resources for plants, and post login and authenticate login. I think that is it for my Rails application or the models. So I've got admin, has many plant, and it has a secure password and it validates the username for uniqueness. Application record in self-abstract class true. This is something I decided not to use. Plant belongs to admin, validates title and presence. That's for the plant tips. For title and description are presence. Tip has become redundant because of what I mentioned with the